Rise and shine, superstars. It's your favorite light coach, MB. Today is a great day to be alive, and you already know it's because you're still here. So stop what you're doing, comment below, and scream at the top of your lungs. Come through, because I know you're thankful that God woke you up this morning. And gratitude is always the absolute best way for you to start your day. And if for some reason you're not grateful to still be here, then I need you right now to stop what you're doing and figure out, why did God allow me to see another day? What is my purpose in life? Why am I still here? Because you are valuable. There's something inside of you that needs to come out. There's something for you to share with the world. I don't know if it's a story. I don't know if it's your passion, your dream, a business, whatever it is. God needs you here to fulfill something that only you can fulfill. So if you're struggling right now, just understand that whatever you're going through will not last forever. If you need someone to talk to, you can always reach out to me. Just don't make a permanent decision based off of a temporary situation. All right, tribe, let's grow. Let's grow. Oh, y'all, I'm so excited. Like every day I get more and more excited because I know that if you're just taking what's being said and applying it to your life and understanding that you have greatness inside of you, you have a purpose. And once you let those two mesh together and you follow in line with that, your life is going to be even more magnificent than you could ever imagine. Today, we're going to talk about failure. And I know you're like, hold up now. You just amped me up. Yesterday, we was talking about give it one more try. And the day before, we was talking about don't go, if things go wrong, don't go that right. Now you want to talk about my failure? Check it. So Winston Churchill says that success is going from failure to failure with the same energy. AKA, keep that same energy the next time you try to do something and it doesn't work out in your favor. Remember, the mind is the rudder, right? It directs you wherever you're going to end up going. So if you can try something, if you can have a goal in life, if you can have a vision or a dream or something that you really want to achieve, and you try it and you fail, if your mind is set, if your mind is prepared, if your mind is prepped for this failure, for this obstacle, for this adversity, then it's going to be able to navigate you towards your goal regardless, because it knows that this is just a temporary setback or pause. This is not a stop. This is not an end all be all. This is what is expected when you have an intention to do something that's going to better your life, that's going to better someone else's life, and that's going to impact the world in a positive way. You got to be willing to go from failure to failure with the same enthusiasm. And you have to understand that failure is a natural part of the success process. Like, you can't just wake up and say, okay, today I decide I'm going to be a millionaire, and then become a millionaire, and there's no failures along the way. That's why you don't get paid to think you can do that, because you're not thinking right. Like, it doesn't work that way. And it's probably why you're not a millionaire either. You have to understand that whatever you're going to go after in life, whether it be big or small, there's going to be something that you don't get right. There's going to be something that you do wrong, and it's going to feel like you failed. You let yourself down, you let somebody else down, but you got to let that go. And you have to understand that it's just a moment. Henry Ford, he said that failure is the opportunity. Does that sound familiar? Remember we talked about last week? Is it an obstacle or an opportunity? Is it adversity or an advantage? He says failure is the opportunity to try it again, but this time more intelligently. It means that you learn from the mistake you made. You're going to make mistakes. You just have to be willing to keep trying. Give it one try. And that's a true principle. If you want to accomplish whatever your goal is, if you want to be successful in life, then just try it. Just give it one try. All it takes is one try, and you can be the version of yourself that you want to be. You can have the things that you want to have, the finances, the freedom, the abundance, the joy, the peace, the love, the relationships, all of it. But you just got to try once. Now, understand that it might not be the first try. It might not be the second try. It might not even be the 3,000th try. Ask Thomas Edison. But if you can know and remember that all it takes is one of those tries, then you'll realize that the distance between you and the life of your dreams is going to start closing in. But are you willing to pursue through the pain? Are you willing to keep going and push through to the failures? Are you going to keep moving forward, or are you going to give up? The difference between the mind of a successful person and the mind of a quitter is that the mind of a successful person sees failure as another stepping stone to success. But the mind of a quitter sees failure as a tombstone. Don't bury your dreams just because you failed once or twice. You have to keep going. Like, if it's your dream, if it's something you really want, if it's something you really desire, then you got to keep going. You got to be willing to work hard at it, and you got to be willing to work hard through it. And just accept the fact that at some point along the way, you're going to do something that could have been done better or shouldn't have been done at all. And you got to look at it as it is. Failure is not a death sentence. Failure is an incident that's got facts. So when you fail, you need to be like, oh, let me check my fact sheet and go through it and figure out, okay, here's where I went wrong. Here's what I probably should have done. All right, so let's not do it this way again. And now you're one step closer to the success that you're trying to have. But you got to be willing to see what happened, what went wrong without the emotions. See, we get so emotionally involved with our failures and the things that we go through in life that we don't like because we're focused on the feelings of disappointment and shame and regret. And it's like, oh my gosh, I tried this, now I'm embarrassed. I tried this, now I feel shamed. But if we can take all that out and just look at the fact sheet, what are the facts? Don't give me the fluff and stuff. Just give me the facts. Then we can actually learn from what happened and move on, as opposed to using what happened to bury ourselves and let our dreams go, let our goals go. Don't focus on what happened. Focus on what you can do differently next time, so that what did happen doesn't happen again. We have to be willing to use our failures as our teachers, as our guides, as the, oh, don't go that way. We know not to go that way. Let's veer back on this way a little bit. Yeah? That's what we have to do. I need you to write this down. Phone, notes, pen, whatever you got. Write it down. If I want to be full of success, I first must be willing to empty out all the failures. Do you understand what I'm saying? If I want to be full of success, I must first be willing to empty out all of the failures. Now, there's two types of failures here. We got past failures and we got future failures. And for some of us who haven't been able to move on the past yet, you are so full with all of the past failures, the disappointment, the shame, the embarrassment, the regret, that you can't even focus on your future and the success with the amount of focus and attention that you need. Because you get started towards your future, and then a thought comes up and you get so distracted by that thought that all of a sudden now you're just following it and you're following it and you're going back down into the rabbit hole because you're holding on to all of this stuff from your past. Like if you had purged out your past and you only had a couple of pieces there, then once you saw that and you would go down, it's like, okay, it's only a few there. I need to get rid of you anyways, but let me get back on track. But because there's so much past failure that you still have inside of you that you haven't addressed and you haven't let go and you haven't forgiven yourself for, that once something pops up in your head and your attention turns to it, then you start seeing all of the other stuff, and now you're sunk, you're mesmerized by your past failures that aren't even happening anymore. You're just reliving them. So you have to address that. If there's something that you want for your future life, if there's something better for yourself that you want, you have to address all of the trauma of the past. And then you got to pour it out. Like it's got to come up out of you. Then we got the future failures. And the future failures, they haven't happened yet, but they're going to happen. And here's what you have to do when they come up. Once you approach or are in front of a future failure and it happens, you have to take that failure, accept it for what it is, fact check it, and then dump it out immediately. Because what can happen is you may have cleared all of these past failures out, and now you're on to something bigger and better for your life, and it's a little bit harder to get there. It's a little more challenging. It takes a little more effort, a little more sweat, a little more tears, a little more strength, a little more focus, a little more discipline. And so when you come to a wall and you fail, if you put that inside and then you keep going and you fail again, and you just keep failing and stacking on top, guess what? You're going to get full again. Now, where's the room for your success? You don't have it. So when you come to a failure on your new journey to the new life that you want, you got to let that go. Be like, all right, fact check. All right, I see what I did wrong. It's time to go because I got somewhere to be. Don't allow yourself to be full of failure if you want to be full of success. You got to think about what it is that you're holding on to, because whatever we hold on to, we have a perceived value for it. That means that all of this pain from the past, for some reason, you've wrapped it up in value. Like it means something to you when you were only supposed to learn from it and let it go. Now it's like, well, I don't want to get rid of that because it's a memory. And I want to hold on to don't hold on to any memory. Hold on to the good memories. Hold on to the memories of success. Learn from the bad ones and hold on to the good ones so that you can resubmerge yourself into the feeling of the good ones, so that when you do come to a future failure, you can be like, you know what? I got it. I see, but it's time for you to go, because I remember what it feels like to be in success. I remember what it feels like to be happy. I remember what it feels like to be free. I remember what it feels like when I was working and doing something at my best. Success can't be obtained if you're full of your past failures, and then when your future failures come, you don't let those go either. Have you guys ever eaten so much, like so much, you've been so full before that you took the last bite, and the last bite, like you swallowed, but it felt like the food didn't go past here? Have you ever been that stuff? I mean, I hope not, because that's kind of gluttonous. But at some point in our life, some of us have been that stuff. No judgment. And I'm not going to say it was me or not me. But it's to a point where you try to take some water down and you can't even get a couple of sips in because you just have so much food in you. And you need the water. You want the water. You're thirsty. But really, it can't do anything but sit on your tongue because it doesn't even have crevices to get down into because you have so much food. It's like a tick. Like a tick will feed and feed and feed until it's so full that it just releases and falls down to the ground. And that's what some of us are living life like. Like we're so full of our past failures, and then we try to cram on, like we don't address them. So as we go for something new, we try to cram on these new failures, and we don't address those either because we're like, okay, I'm just going to forget about the failures and focus on the success. But you have to learn from the failures and then get rid of them. But we're trying to cram them on top of failures that came from the past. And so now we're up to here in failure, and we're so stuffed with failure that we can't even hold on to the goal anymore. We can't hold on to the dream anymore. We can't see it. We can't breathe. We're overwhelmed and we're overcome with the things that we were supposed to learn from, and we just let go. And now we're stuck on the ground, lying on our back, hoping that nothing in life steps on us. Today, you got to think about, what have you failed at in the past that you're still holding on to, that is still inside of you? And it might not be up here yet. It might just be about right here. But as you go towards your future, as you go towards the things that you're trying to accomplish, and you meet more failures, if you haven't learned how to exercise the ability to get rid of the failures from the past, the only thing that's going to happen at this point is you're just going to start stuffing failures on top of failures. And how can you go from one failure to another failure with the same energy as if it never happened before if all you have inside of you is failure? All you can remember is failure. All you're meditating on is the failure that you've been through and how that feels. Let go of the failure. Meditate on the feeling of what happened when you were successful. Let that sit in there so that you can attract more success and you can become more full of success and that energy and that feeling that came with it. But you got to give it one more try. You got to believe it's possible. And you got to keep that same energy when that failure comes and you're faced with it. You got to remember, it's just one time. I have another opportunity. Let's go. And then when you take that next one, you have to approach that next opportunity with the same energy as if you hadn't failed before. Keep that same energy. Hold on to that opportunity and win. This is your winning year. But you got to show up to win. Winners don't show up hoping not to lose. Winners show up expecting to win. So what do you expect of yourself today? What do you expect of yourself this month? What do you expect of yourself this year? How are you going to finish out this year versus how you started this year? Versus how you finished last year? What do you want better for yourself this year that you gave up on last year? That you didn't try for last year? That you almost gave up on this year? Guys, we're almost in the second quarter. Are you playing to win? Like, do your stats from January up until now reflect the fact that you're playing to win? Or do your stats show that you're playing and you're hoping not to lose? There's still a chance to turn it around. But you got to make that decision today. You got to say, my future is worth me showing up today. Because we don't know how much future we actually have left. It might just be one day. It might just be 2 years. So how are you going to live the rest of your future? Are you going to live it based off of the stats you had so far this year? If they weren't the best stats? Or are you going to be like, you know what, it's time for me to give my best. It's time for me to focus. I have this dream. I want to do this. I'm going to do that. Let me make the decision to do what's necessary for me to get what I say that I want. Because I want to win. Because it's your year to win. That's why you want to win. I'm telling you, this is your year to win. You just got to show up and play like it. But you know what it is. If you don't remember anything I just said, always remember this. It's a great day to be alive. It's a great day to be great. And it's a great day to find the greatness in you. Now go out there and live the greatest day of your life.